Hi guys, welcome to my channel. It's all about discussing on real-time interview questions. Concept matters the most. What are the expectations from the interviewer while asking sort of questions? So let's start discussing the interview questions. Let's move to first question. So why we use const keyword in copy constructor? First of all, what is copy constructor? Copy the constructor is called copy constructor. You may say like copy constructor is a special member function which takes the class name blah blah. Honestly, this kind of answer is not going to impact the interviewer because out of 100 candidates, he's hearing this kind of answer from 90. So just say copy constructor means copy the constructor. Then the interviewer might asking what is constructor, so on. So be prepared for that. I'm not going to cover those kind of things because basically we are trying to cover why we use constant copy constructor. So what is copy? Copy means exact, copy means similar, copy means identical. So that's the reason we are using const keyword in copy constructor. If you see, so here is the class name, here is the constant. So like that, we are writing copy constructor. And if you see the diagram, so this is the old object and we are creating the new object by copy, means using copy constructor. So once again I'm repeating, copy constructor means copy the constructor. Copy means identical, similar or exact. That's why we are using constant in copy constructor. Okay, let's move to second question. So what is the size of a empty class? I mean, size of empty class is 1 byte in C++. See, class and class size is entirely two different things. Class and class size is entirely two different things. If you consider class as a container, so size means what are the elements or data members inside the class and what are the size occupied by them is called the class size. So if you see here is that box is looks like empty. Why it is empty? This box contains nothing. So simply we can say it is empty. So if you go to the middle one, so in this container we see something is there, like three things are there. I mean three rectangles are there. So obviously I can say some size is there. And if we move the last one, so there is no container, but something is there, right? Those are things individual sizes. I mean raw sizes. So that is the basic concept behind the class and class size. And if you move to next one, like class, my class, within curly brace nothing is there. So this is a kind of empty class. So once again I am repeating, class and class size are two different things. If you see class as a container, class size, what are the things occupied by that container is called class size. Basically, in program point of view, generally two things, data members and member functions are the part of the class. And data members are only responsible for the class size. If there is no data members, so there is no size, and class size is 0. Then why it takes 1 byte? Once again, class and class size is two different things. Class is nothing but a address or a location where the memory starts representing that box. I mean, if it is a rectangle box, so which address and how it is going to represented in memory, so that is the class. And class size is nothing but a number of data members how going to occupy in that address, so that is called size, I mean class size. So that's the reason even when there is nothing inside the class, nothing inside the class means no data members are there. So no data members are there means no class size. No class size means class size is 0. But to represent that class in memory, we need 1 byte. Why we need 1 byte? Because we need some location, we need some address to represent that particular replica of that class. What is particular replica? When we are generating any instance of that class, then the memory will be reflected by this location, whatever location allocated. So to considering that location and address, we are reserving 1 byte for that. Then the interviewer might asking, if you won't reserve 1 byte, then what will happen? So first of all, you may create a empty class like this, my class, and simply using size of operator, you can check the size of class. And second thing is, you can create 2-3 instances of that particular class, and you can check the address of each instances of that class. It should not be same. Okay, those things you can experiment. Once again, I am repeating, class and class size is entirely two different things. Class is nothing but a location or address of a memory representation. Class size means the data members or the sizes occupied the data are going to be located in that particular location or address is called class size. If class size, I mean no data, I mean no member data, then class will be occupy at least 1 byte reservations for that location, so that no two similar kind of objects will point to same location. It is a violation or it may be a conflict. To check that, just create a empty class and check the size and just create 2-3 objects and then check the address of each object. So that's all. Then I'm moving to next question. So need of name mangling. So first of all, what is name mangling? Name plus mangling is called name mangling. So name, we know name, what is name? Mangling. That name will be representing to a uniquely representation of that particular name is called name mangling. One simple example. Suppose in a classroom there are two students having same name or maybe more. You have noticed how the teachers, how the friend circles are calling them. What I mean to say, the teacher may be referring different naming for those two. Friend circle may be calling differently. So that is the exact concept over here. So to avoid same name, so compiler used to concatenate something so that it can be uniquely represented, and at the time of delinking, so it's clear which name and which stands for what. Basically in function overloading we can see this concept. Once again I'm going to repeat, name mangling, name plus mangling is called name mangling. Name is a raw things and we mangle it to uniquely represent that name is called name mangling. To uniquely represent that name, you may be representing that name with a sort of form. Sort of form means you may be pre, post, or whatever concatenations, maybe abbreviation, whatever you do, that is a kind of mangling. So same thing is here. In case of compiler, when you see some function overloading. Function overloading means two functions overloaded with same name. Might be more. I'm just giving an example. So in that case, the compiler may be concatenating the data type. Some compilers may be pre-concatenating some data type with an underscore, something that depends upon how the compiler has been designed to overcome or to represent this mangling. So that's all depend. So if you see in this picture, name is there. So after compiled, it's a compiled or unique name that is called mangling. Similarly, in case of demangling, just it's a reverse case. You can see sort of example here actually. So my function, see, it's a kind of function overloading. So it is kind of, the data type, different data types. So in this case, the compiler, how it will be uniquely represent these names so that at time of decompiling, delinking, it will be very clear which function and what is the data type and what is the purpose for. And that depends to compiler design. So I'm not going to say that only in case of function overloading the compiler follows name mangling. Even you can see even class or some sort of things also mangling is there. So simply you can experiment, maybe in case of function overloading, or you can see in the class name or something, you can just experiment. But basically for overloading cases where there is a conflict between the names because the names are almost similar, so in that case only it's very clear the compiler uses the strategy to mangling. So that's all for the name mangling. Okay, that's all for this video. Please subscribe to my channel.